Now let there be light. So what's happening? What's going on, Jets fans? So what's up? It is good to see you. This is GreenBean, episode 29 of GreenBean's Jets pod. I couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be happier to be doing this with you guys. I'm so incredibly psyched every single week. I just love it. I love releasing it, and I give it a little while, and then I check in. And dude, you guys are the absolute best. So many of you, and I thank you for this, so many of you are inspired to write comments. And I just love it. Because, you know, you don't have to do that. So I really do appreciate it, man. I love taking some time and trying to get to as many of the comments as I possibly can. A lot of the times I get to all of them, which is not easy. It's not easy to do. But I just love it. I love our interaction. I love doing this with you guys. Again, episode 29. I am GreenBean, and we're going to get into this whole thing. But I wanted to tell you, as much as I do love the interaction that we get to participate in, I have created a deeper level of support and interaction between us so we can further this and explore deep crevasses of our relationship. My new Patreon page is up, and the link to that is right in the description of this very video. It's the first thing you'll see. If you have any interest in helping to support this channel, you can click on that link. I have 3 tiers, 5, 10, 20, and there are different benefits and such for each individual tier. Again, guys, I sincerely appreciate all of the support. That would be fantastic, and it would help me out a great deal, man. I love it. I love learning how to do these things and furthering what we can do together. One more thing, don't forget, if you are really in the need for more Jets football than you're getting, Jets Twitter is out there. You got all the beat writers. You got all this sort of stuff, YouTube. But if you're looking for more, Jetnation.com is the place to be. You can follow our podcast and On the Road with GreenBean on Jetnation's YouTube page. But guys, the forums are where it's at, man. That's where you want to go. Go on Jetnation.com, click on forums, and there is more going on in there than you ever knew existed as far as the Jets go. And don't forget, if you want to follow, keep track of what I'm doing out here on the road, you can always go to Full-Time Coaster Tour and give me a sub over there. Don't forget to give me a like and a sub right here. It looks just like this. That little button right there. Oh, man. It's fun. You're going to like it. Click the button. You'll see. Click it. Don't unclick it. Just click it and wait to see what happens. It's amazing. And if you want to be notified of all of our happenings, everything that we do here, the live streams, the impromptu, spontaneous videos, you can just click that bell icon up top, and that will give you the reminders and notifications of everything that we're doing. And again, guys, it's really appreciated, and I thank you. I love it. I love how this is growing. I love how our whole sphere of consciousness around the New York Jets is developing. I love it. But guys, here's the big thing coming out of Jets camp this week. We'll get started with this. They put out a tweet today. 9 weeks left until football. Only 9 weeks left. Sounds good, doesn't it? 9 weeks, that's nothing. I can make it 9 weeks. The offseason's long, man. Only 9 weeks. That's good. But I think they're crazy for saying that. It's not 9 weeks. I'm not waiting 9 weeks for football. Preseason starts August 14th. That's 4 weeks, man. That cuts off 5 weeks. I like the sound of that better. But, dude, it's even better than that. For guys like us and girls, I don't want to skip the girls, all right? Because there are some. For guys and girls like us, we know damn well we don't have to wait till preseason to get our football fix. Training camp starts in 2 weeks. July 27th, the Jets will walk into One Jets Drive, the Atlantic Health Training Center, and they will begin training camp. The first training camp under Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbricht, Boyer, LaFleur, all of our guys. Greg Knapp, they're all in there, man. And our first time with this organization gets started July 27th. Just some little notes from that. The first 3 days are mandatory, no pads, no contact. So the first 3 days, we'll still get news. Well, it'll be like kind of like OTAs. They'll go in there, but no contact the first 3 days. 4 and 5, the 4th and 5th day, they get a little bit of contact, but it's not full contact yet. Day 6 is a day off, and then day 7 is when all the injuries start. Well, hopefully not, right? Don't forget, another great thing about this particular organization is we've just changed, reimagined, and redeveloped our entire medical, nutrition, training, and rehabilitation department. Our new medical department is robust, all under Dr. DeWeese. We have doctors in charge of every department. Every department head goes through Dr. DeWeese. It's all speaking the same language, and the hope here is that we start to see less injuries, and when there are injuries, they can rehab and get back on the field quicker because they're having something called player-specific protocols. Player-specific protocols, unlike anything the New York Jets have ever seen before. No longer will we have guys not showing up to their rehab while they're making $8 million on injured reserve. No call, no showing on their training rehab day, and then blowing up the Twitter sphere that the Jets are jerks for penalizing him because he's a no-call, no-show. No more of that stuff. Player-specific protocols. Joe Douglas leading the charge. July 27th, 2 weeks, we get our football fix. Nine weeks. They don't know. They don't know how obsessed we really are, man. We're nuts. I feel like this isn't even the off season. There's news, baby. So look, the first thing that we get out of this new training camp, the first little tidbit that we're getting is what? We talked about it in the live stream last week. You guys saw him. We saw Mekhi Becton that everybody is concerned about, right? We heard about plantar fasciitis. We heard Robert Saleh saying we got to talk to this man and teach him how to have longevity in his career. So there was all kinds of concern. He didn't, he wasn't physically practicing in OTAs and minicamp. And people are wondering, is it more than just a concern? Then we go ahead and sign Morgan Moses. Oh shit. This means Becton's in trouble. Well, a couple of days ago, a video came out of Becton working out with Armstead and Rashawn Slater. So some good people to be working out with. And the number one thing that stood out to me, besides how strong he is and how willing he is, all those things shined through. It was his frame. Svelte. Svelte fish. That's what I saw. Svelte fish. Mekhi Becton. He looked good. He didn't look like a big fat fatty. No, he didn't. He was still 360, don't get me wrong. But he looked muscular. His belly wasn't hanging over his belt. None of that stuff, man. He looked good. And he was jumping around. And you see the exercise with balance with the medicine ball rolling on his feet. That's for balance, but it also shows, let me tell you what that's doing, is it's stretching out the arch of the foot, okay? If he had plantar fasciitis going on, you can't do that, man. Believe me. I know from personal knowledge. That's what plantar fasciitis is. It's the retraction of the arch of your foot. So it's like it's sometimes when you can't just the pressure of a normal step, just your weight on your foot when your foot steps down and it stretches out and pulls on the arch like normal. It's excruciating. Or can be. The fact that he was doing that, yes, it's a balance and strength exercise, but the thing that stood out to me was if he had plantar fasciitis, if it was bothering him, there's no way he's doing that. Or there's no way he's doing it without a grimace. Like, that's the face you'd be seeing. We didn't see any of that. So it looks good. It looks like Dr. DeWeese is on top of this one. Salah's on top of it, JD's on top of it, and Dr. DeWeese and his people are on top of it. And Becton's working out with the perennial Pro Bowl, All-Pro tackle from the Saints. Looks good to me. And one of the highest regarded tackles coming into the draft this year, Rashawn Slater. I like it. I like it. So that's the first thing that we saw. It's pretty good, man. So we have 9 weeks till the regular season, 4 weeks till we open up the preseason against the New York Giants, and 2 weeks until we open up training camp, and then we'll see what's going on. I forget when the first cut is. I think, let me see here. Hold on a second. I'll tell you. So interestingly, we start our camp with 90 players, and the first cut is going to happen 3 days after our first preseason game. We got to let go of 5 guys. 5. Most of the time, it's a bunch of people that few people even know much about. Guys like me, we know about them, but it's the bottom end of the roster usually. Okay, you very rarely see a big name or somebody that's going to disappoint you in the first wave of cuts, unless somebody gets cut that the Jets are really interested in, and then they cut a guy to make room and all that sort of stuff. But the first cut is a cut of 5 players down to 85. That will take place on August 17th. So then August 24th, they got to cut 5 more. So a week later, right? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 7. A week later, you have to cut 5 more. So then you're down to 80, okay? And the cuts start rolling from there. And then we got to get down to 53, as you know. So that will take place on August 31st. And then we go into the season, guys. So it's exciting. We got it coming. We're going into training camp, man. How do you get more excited than that? I don't know. I can't. I'm psyched. But so the big story this week that I wanted to present to you guys is this. Now that all that's aside, right, we're excited football's coming. I want to point something out to you. And it's not necessarily good stuff, okay? And I want to point something out right from the get-go. And I want you to know I'm sincere when I say this. I'm never happy to hear any guys are getting arrested or any of that stuff. Domestic violence, DUI. I'm never happy with that stuff. And if it was up to me, every player would be healthy every game of the year. They would never get in trouble, and we would get to see teams at full strength every single game. That's what I want. That's the kind of guy I am. So if it was up to me, none of these guys would ever get in trouble. None of these guys would ever get hurt. That's the way I see it. I want to see everybody playing. But one of the things that we're seeing is that guys are getting into lots of trouble out there. 17 guys have been arrested this year so far. 17. Now, this is including the most recent report of Barkevious Mingo, all right? Which, that one, hey man, I'm hoping that's not true. Believe you me, I'm hoping that whatever they're saying he didn't happen. Because that's not good, man. And that's the kind of thing that if it is happening, you start having a lot less sympathy for the man. And you're, at least for me, my sympathy shifts towards the child. But I'm not going to get into the details of it. I want to talk about a blanket. I want to get, the whole grand scheme, big picture. That's what I'm looking at. So Barkevious Mingo is the 17th guy to get arrested this year. Guess how many were Jets? Take a shot. I'll give you a second. None. What is none? That's right. So 17 guys got arrested. Not one is a Jet. Now, the interesting thing is that the Jets are not having very much trouble in the legal department as of late. The most recent issue for the Jets was, and we all know this, is when Quinnen Williams showed up at the airport with an unloaded gun. He don't know, right? So I'm not making light of it necessarily. At the same time, he didn't show up. He wasn't drunk. He wasn't disorderly. He wasn't looking to hurt anybody. He's just from a different place. He's up in New York, down in Alabama, and I don't know if you can bring him in the airport or anything. I think you can in checked baggage. Forgive me. But each state has very different gun laws. Some gun laws, you have to, like if you get pulled over by a cop, without them even asking you if you have a gun, you have to volunteer the information. That's the law. So you think about that. A cop pulls you over because your taillight's out. You have to say, hey, by the way, I have a gun in the trunk. You imagine? How many people do you think don't do that? Now, if you get caught doing that, the charges are exacerbated. They're worse because you didn't volunteer the information. So each state is very different. Some states are, if you have a gun and they ask you, you have to admit it. Other states are, you can flat out carry. You're allowed to have a gun in your truck or Prius, whatever it is that you're driving around, right? So Quinnen Williams, coming from the South, the state where he lived, was very, very different. So again, I'm not trying to make light of it, but it's different than a domestic violence. It's different than what's happening with Barkevius Mingo. It's different than, you know, driving 110 miles an hour with a child in the back while smoking weed. Stuff like that. Okay, it's different. But that's the last time that the Jets got into any trouble. Now, I'm going to do my thing. Hear that? That's knocking on wood. This is real wood. So we're going to knock. We got all kinds of wood. I'm going to knock on stuff, okay? All right. But this is just factual. I'm not making statements or boasts, okay, universe? I'm not saying this is not boasting. And I believe in jinx, so I'm going to be real careful here. But this is the thing that I wanted to talk to you about. So Quinnen Williams in March of 2020 had that incident with the gun in the airport. The last charge before that was Chris Herndon getting arrested for a DUI in Morris County, my hometown. That's my home county, everybody. He crashed into a vehicle of a 76-year-old man while intoxicated, and that was 2018. So that was just over 2 years. It was June 2nd, 2018, and that's pretty much the last two of any consequence. The one before that is the Dylan Donahue Lincoln Tunnel thing. So that's 2018. But here's what's interesting. Between 2015 and 2020, the New York Jets had 12 guys arrested. 12. In a 5-year period. That includes Robbie Anderson. That includes Sheldon Richardson. And a couple years before that, we have the weird shit with Kellen Winslow. Remember that? The weird one with Kellen Winslow in the parking lot. Dude, that was a wacky one. So again, we'll leave the details over here. We're going to put the details right over here, but we're going to talk about it. So the Jets were fairly consistent with having issues for a while. And it's interesting because Mike McCagnon, he and his wife had some sort of involvement with a charity for domestic violence. So he made it a big deal that he would never sign anybody who had a charge or any concerns about domestic violence. That was a thing of his, a bugaboo, right? And you can commend that. You can. But that still didn't stop him from having 12 of his players. Remember, 2015 is when he came aboard. That's the Mike McCagnon era. All right, so he comes aboard, and we had 12 guys that he brought to the team were arrested for one reason or another. All sorts of different stuff. Since Joe Douglas has come aboard, we only have the Quinnen Williams issue. Now that's not a Joe Douglas pick either. So far, none of Joe Douglas's guys that he brought to the team have had any issue with the law in any capacity. Okay. Now the Quinnen Williams thing. Again, Joe Douglas had to deal with it because it happened during his tenure. That's the only one. The Chris Herndon thing happened prior to Joe Douglas getting here, but we had to deal with it during Joe Douglas's tenure. So the 4-game suspension we had to realize while Joe Douglas was our GM. So Joe Douglas dealt with it, but he wasn't the guy that chose him, and it didn't happen while he was here, right? So what does this all mean? We have 17 NFL players arrested this year so far. Up till just yesterday or 2 days ago, the situation was with Mingo. All right, so 17 guys, none are New York Jets. Now, the reason I'm talking about this, what does it mean, is because there has been a focus. We've talked about this in different capacities many times over the last 2 years. Joe Douglas's focus on character, okay? Joe Douglas's focus on character. And this even goes to the coach. When you look at Adam Gase, again, you know my background, man. And if you don't, I'll tell you briefly now. My background is in addiction. All right. I worked in the addiction field for over 15 years. I started as a behavioral health tech, an entry-level position. I worked my way up as a therapist, all those things. I ended up being a program director and ultimately an executive director of 2 rehabs. One I built from scratch as the director, and the other one I took over one that was having issues, and I rebuilt that one. I know addiction, man. I know what it looks like. I can, with much confidence, I can tell you what we're looking at a lot of the times where addiction and a lot of mental health issues are concerned. I can tell you, I recognize things. I saw them by the hundreds every week for 15 years. So Adam Gase's press conference, there was something going on there. Okay, it was more than your normal, a little bit stressed, a little nervous. It was way more than that. When we look at Adam Gase's first preseason game as a Jet, what's the famous clip from his first preseason game? Does anybody remember anything about that preseason game? Except for the fact that Adam Gase was caught smelling the smelling salts, pop it open, you remember? So when that's going on at the head coach level, you have Mike Maccagnan bringing in guys like Dylan Donahue. You have, and Chris Herndon, and just people like that with issues. Then you have a head coach who's caught whiffing smelling salts on the sideline to get psyched for a game post his press conference, which was, there was more going on there, okay? If you ever see Stephen A. Smith, who I don't love, I don't love his shtick all that much, but let me tell you, as mad as it made me, because I tend to want to defend the Jets. I just do. It's like that old thing, like you can talk about, I can talk about my mother, but you can't talk about my mother. Those kinds of things. I can talk about my buddy, but you can't talk about my buddy. That sort of stuff. So when Stephen A. Smith talked about Adam Gase, I didn't like that he was doing it, but I couldn't disagree because that's what I was thinking. He said he looks high.
He looked high.
That man looks high. That's all he said. I'm going to say it like I see it. The guy looks high. And I couldn't disagree because it was my own thought. I knew what I was looking at. Adam Gase, smelling salts, press conference, all kinds of stuff with Adam Gase, right? That's our leadership. Mike Maccagnan brought in 12 guys. 12 different guys during his tenure were arrested for one thing or another. And then Quinnen Williams was arrested as well. So that would be 13. So, but let's leave Quinnen out. He's such a good boy, right? Isn't Quinnen Williams a good boy? So this brings up a really solid point for what is going on with the Jets. We've consistently talked about culture. We've consistently talked about the winds of change. It feels different. Look at our head coach now, Robert Saleh. Not only is he not going to get caught with smelling salts on the sideline to try to get amped for the game, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to happen. You're never going to see that. Not only are you not going to see it, he's known for being a workout guy. He's healthy. He's ripped. He looks strong. He looks, virile. He's known to take guys to the gym, sit there and work out with them and chat with them. What does he say? He wants to be available to help remove the outside noise of life so they can focus on the longevity and success of their career. He wants them to, when they're in the camp, on the field, he wants them to have as little distractions as possible so they can succeed as men. He's also on record saying he'd like to help people make as much money as they can in this league. How does he do that? He does that by being available for guys, talking them through things, helping them to navigate through the difficulties of being young men, all of a sudden thrown into being millionaires in the spotlight with tons and tons of stress and pressure on them. So that's one of the main things we've done. In the meantime, Joe Douglas, in the 2020 draft, famously, he drafted 5 consecutive team captains. There were a few more in this draft as well. Even our undrafted free agents were known to have high character. Guys like Kenny Yeboah. He's known to have high character, fantastic work ethic. Don't forget, the guy in his first year in college was a failing wide receiver. Matt Rule told him, look, if you're going to try to make it in this league, you're going to need to gain 30, 35 pounds of muscle. You're going to need to change positions. So what did he do? He worked over the next 3 years, changed positions, did okay at Temple, and then as a graduate went over to Ole Miss and then became Kenny Yeboah. All right, the guy's known to have work ethic. Look at the offensive tackle from New Mexico that we got, Teton Saltes, or Salties. The guy is known as a leader. I mean known. The guy's lobbied Congress on 2 separate occasions for child issues. Joe Douglas has placed a premium on character, not just his players. his leaders. Robert Saleh is known as a high character players coach, and not a players coach that's rah-rah, all that, you know what I mean? He has some of that, but that's not all he is. He's not a one-trick pony. Robert Saleh has all the same, attractive qualities that a Rex Ryan would have, getting guys psyched up for the game and all that sort of stuff. Needs a get-back coach, but he's also the type of man that can support and help guys get through other difficult things, and he works out and all that stuff. He leads by example. He's not eating pretzel M&Ms by the gallon. You know what I mean? By the pound, I should say. So this is a big one, man. This is a big one. When you look at how many guys are getting arrested in the league, and some of them, it's disturbing. Let me just go through this. So when you look at the types of issues that we're seeing around the league, man, some of them are downright disturbing. Other are just like, you don't want to see your players involved in this stuff. We have DUI, domestic violence, drag racing, evading police with drugs, domestic violence, evading arrest, assault, gun, destroying property, gun, domestic violence, battery, gun, reckless driving. Even somebody that I can't speak more highly of Zavin Collins. I loved him coming out. He's already been arrested, man. I mean, it's the reckless driving thing. So reckless has to be over a certain speed. For me, it's like, all right, come on. You know what I mean? Like, what is it really? Were people in danger? I don't know the details. But still, we're talking about an issue that traditionally the Jets have suffered with. Again, the Jets have had, from 2015 to 2020, 12 guys arrested. We all know the Robbie Anderson stuff. We know the Sheldon Richardson, all these things. So I'm not going to tell you that it will never happen again. But I am going to tell you, in the 2 years that Joe Douglas has been here, we haven't seen it. New medical department, brand new head coach, new leadership, new reporting structure, new hierarchy. And the players we're bringing in, we're not only talking about guys with superior athletic talent, guys like Elijah Moore, guys like Nasruddin, okay? Jamie Sherwood, Elijah Vera Tucker. These guys are athletes. Even our 6th round pick defensive tackle. Why did he get drafted? It's not because so much of his college production. It's about his athletic profile. That's what it is with him. It's about his measurables. It's about his athletic prowess. So he's loading up. He's stocking up on athletes. But at the same time, it's not just their athletic abilities. It's their character. Because why? What is Saleh talking about with outside distractions? He's helping guys navigate through life. We don't want to waste our time helping navigate through the legal system if we can avoid it. It's one of the biggest things, guys. And it's such a positive. Again, I don't know what the future is going to hold. All I can tell you is since Joe Douglas has been here, it's been completely devoid of this stuff. Quinnen Williams, that's it. And we know he's a good boy, damn it. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't know. It's a mistake. I love that guy. Right? So that's the whole thing. Now, I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to switch camera angles, the whole thing. And I'm going to show you something. There was a, we all know when Elijah Moore was drafted, we all saw the A.J. Brown reaction, the tear-filled reaction of A.J. Brown talking to Elijah Moore on how he viewed him and his potential for an NFL career, right? We saw that. Teary-eyed. Said, I can't do half the things you can do. I'm not you. As good as I am, I'm not you, buddy. You got everything. The world is open to you. I think he said the sky is not the limit for you. The sky is not even the limit. You can go as high as you want in this league. But something else happened last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. I forget exactly how long. 7, 8, 10, 9, 14 days. Something like that. They were spotted, those two men were spotted in Brooklyn. Doing what? Were they drunk driving? Were they beating somebody up in an elevator? No. They stopped at a a group of men in Brooklyn. I guess this park is known for guys working out. It's like a Muscle Beach kind of thing in Brooklyn. And what did they do? They stopped there and did that workout with them. And it didn't look like an easy one. I'll show you a nice clip of that if you haven't seen it. It was everywhere for a minute, but a lot of times this stuff slips by. There's so much news and so much stuff out there that it's not easy to keep track of it all. So I'm going to switch screens right now. Okay? I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, here we go. So I hope this is it. Yeah, so look, you're going to see A.J. Brown and Elijah Moore. This is a short little clip. There were some more, but I'm only going to show you one of them doing the workout with these serious-looking fellas down in Brooklyn. You can see one of the guys even says something along the lines of, "I'm a Jets and Titans fan now." Why? Because they earned their respect. These guys are serious about what they're doing. Elijah Moore and A.J. Brown went there and hung. They showed them, we can hang with you. Did the whole workout, and that earned their respect as men. So that's the stuff that we see now. So I'm going to show you that. Let's take a look. Watch this. Poof! Hello. Here I am. All right, you see? So here's the video. It's going to be short. Let's take a look here.
Let's pull up, show love. Yeah. Work out with them. And these boys in the jungle, man. We appreciate it. We appreciate it, man. Look at these boys. These boys apes out here. Yeah.
Jets and the Titans, that's my new team, y'all.
Yes, sir. We out here in Brooklyn.
Look at our boy.
Yeah. Work out with them. And these boys in the jungle, man. We appreciate it. We appreciate it, man. Look at these boys apes out here. Yeah.
So you see that.
Jets and the Titans, that's my
Okay.
new team, y'all.
What Joe Douglas is doing here, my friends, is he's compiling people that on their off day, instead of going out and partying, getting loaded, getting into some trouble, and needing the Jets and the power of the Jets organization to get them out of trouble, get them probation. This is what they're doing. They're going to Brooklyn. They're going deep into the crowd with some people that are serious about what they're doing, and they're hanging with them. Okay? Guys, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Again, I'm not trying to jinx us, but I'm only talking about what's happened until now. This is serious. And I want to thank somebody for bringing this to my attention, and I'll give you some information here. This subject was brought to my attention by somebody that I talk with on Twitter, one of you guys. His name is D. Mill. And he goes on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @GangGreenBeret. Gang. So GangGreen, Gang Green Beret. BRET. Beret. And I'll put it up here. It'll be right around here somewhere. I'll put it up there for you. So D. Mill sent me this information, and he gave me a link. And I'll give you this. I'm going to put this link up here too. For all the databases of all the arrests that happen for NFL players and stuff. They keep track of it. It's an arrest database. And it also, you can filter it by the team. So you can very easily see which teams have how much of a problem with this. And so what we did was we looked at the NFL as a whole, and then we looked at the New York Jets as a whole. And you can go back as far as you want. So maybe I'll even do that. Let me go back to that camera angle. Let me show you something here. So I'm going to go back to that camera angle here. Let me remove this. Here we go. Hello. Let me share my screen here. So look, I'm going to share my screen with you. And this is what the database looks like, guys. So you can start to see. So this is the Jets one. So as you can see here, we got Quinnen up top, Chris Herndon, Dylan Donahue, Robbie Anderson, and a whole bunch of guys. Lorenzo Malden with the assault, and goes on and on and on, right? Sheldon Richardson's issue, Odeabushi, which interestingly, I just made a video the other day, but I forgot why we gave up on Odeabushi so quickly. He was the left tackle when Morgan Moses was the right tackle at UVA. Or maybe it was the other way around. I forget. Forgive me on that one. But they were the bookend tackles at the University of Virginia. And Odeabushi came in and was drafted by the Jets, and we let him go like a year later. So it probably had something to do with this arrest, and I forgot all about that. So this stuff is cool. When you're looking for information, it's good to have that stuff. So thank you, Gang Green Beret. I appreciate it, man. And this is what it looks like. And look, you have pages. Remember Brian Thomas? I don't even remember him getting into that issue. Look, Darrelle Revis was in here. Look at that. An assault. Video shows 2 men on the ground unconscious. Revis wasn't messing around. So, anywho, let's click back. Boom. Here we go. And in summation, guys, this is a big one. The proof is in the pudding. Again, we don't know what issues are coming down the pike. Stuff happens, man. Stuff happens in this world. But there is a trend here. When you draft 9 players and 5 of them are team captains, good things are going to happen. Team captain is a leader. We drafted a few more this year. I'm convinced of it. I just don't remember the number. Zach Wilson for starters. So we're drafting team captains, we're drafting high character guys, we're drafting superior athletes, and we have a leader in the house, namely Robert Saleh. He's known for leading by example. That's his gig. High character coach, high character GM, high character players. It's a good recipe for success. Maybe, just maybe, as we move forward into the 2021-22 seasons, we can avoid this horse shit and not get caught up with this side of NFL fandom, defending our players for getting arrested or having to cut guys or worry. You know, don't remember when we signed Michael Vick, half of the fan base was like, I'm not supporting the Jets for signing. I don't like what he did. You know? So he avoids it entirely. Now, I don't care what side you're on with that one. Believe me, I had conversations after conversations with that one. And my side aside, it just was an issue. I'm not saying any side's right or wrong. I'm saying it was an issue. It was a distraction. Joe Douglas looks to be avoiding those distractions at all costs, at the same time grabbing superior athletic talent with boatloads of potential. What do you think? I'm real curious, to see what you guys think about this. I don't know if you knew. I'm sure you could tell. 17 guys this year alone got arrested. None were New York Jets. 12 New York Jets got arrested in a 5-year period from 2015 to 2020. None since. This is the kind of stuff. It's not happenstance. This is by design. And it's the kind of design that I personally approve of. I personally relish. I'm very happy that this is our trend. Rather than getting rid of high character guys to bring in guys that just got out of jail and so forth and so on. We've been there. We know what that leads to. Okay? I'm not saying guys don't deserve second chance and redemption. That's all another story. I'm just talking about for our particular football team, it's better not to have these distractions. So guys, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe right here. Don't forget to stop by Jetnation's YouTube and Jetnation.com. And if you have the time, if you have the heart and desire to support me further, number one, you can go over to Full-Time Coaster Tour on YouTube. Give me a sub over there. And of course, you can help support the channel with a Patreon donation or a membership, right? Yeah, you're patrons. So you can support me through Patreon. Click the link right below. All my links are below in the description of this video for all the equipment I use and all that stuff. And if you click the links and you buy something, there's an affiliate VIG that I get. You know what I mean? It helps me out. So guys, again, I appreciate everything that you guys do, from the comments to the Patreon and everything in between. Thank you for watching, and I hope you're going to have a great rest of the week. Go Jets.